Why are your manifestations taking so long to arrive? Florence Scovel. Shinn kept this secret under wraps for 40 years because she knew humanity wasn't quite ready for it. She discovered there's a back door to the universe, and that's how true prosperity always arrives. You've been waiting at the wrong door. This revelation began in 1925, on a Thursday afternoon in New York City. Florence was meeting with a wealthy woman who had lost everything. The woman said something that would forever change Florence's understanding of manifestation. She confessed, "Every time I received abundance in my life, it came disguised as a problem." Florence shuddered when she heard this. It was the missing piece of a puzzle she had been assembling for decades. You need to understand something right now. When you declare prosperity, when you visualize abundance, when you give thanks in advance, the universe is listening. But there's a detail no one tells you about. The universe has two doors: the front door, where everyone's waiting, and the back door, where everything actually enters. Florence discovered that 99% of people spend their entire lives watching the front door, waiting, declaring, visualizing, while prosperity is desperately knocking at the back door. The front door is where you expect things to happen. It's the dream job you applied for. It's the perfect business deal you planned. It's the inheritance you're anticipating. It's the ideal client you're visualizing. But Florence discovered something disturbing. The more you watch the front door, the more the universe uses the back door. It's a spiritual law she called the law of inverted expectation. Let me tell you what happened with that wealthy woman. She was the heiress to an immense fortune. She spent years awaiting her inheritance, visualizing it, declaring it, thanking in advance. The inheritance was her front door, but prosperity had other plans. First, she lost her right to the inheritance due to a legal technicality. Devastated, she accepted a humble job at a library. It was the only thing she could find. She cried every day on her way to work. But something strange happened. At the library, she met an elderly gentleman who came every day to read the same books. They started talking. He was writing his memoirs, and he needed help. She agreed to help him in her spare time for a small fee. 6 months later, she discovered that this gentleman was one of the richest men in America. He had no heirs. When he died, he left everything to her. 10 times more than the inheritance she had lost. Florence became obsessed with this pattern. She began to investigate hundreds of cases, and what she discovered left her sleepless for weeks. In all cases of true prosperity, it arrived through the back door, always disguised, always through the path the person least expected, always when the person had given up watching the front door. But here's the most disturbing thing. Florence discovered that there's a spiritual reason for this. The universe uses the back door to test your faith. When you become obsessed with the front door, you're saying to the universe, "I only accept receiving it my way." It's a subtle form of spiritual arrogance. You're trying to control God, and the universe cannot be controlled. The back door is the path of divine humility. It's accepting that the universe knows better than you how to deliver your blessings. It's trusting that the crooked path is often faster than the straight line. It's understanding that the detour is, in reality, the shortcut. Florence called this sacred surrender. She documented case after case. A man who wanted to be a doctor was rejected by every medical school, ended up becoming an ambulance driver, and invented a medical device that made him a millionaire. a woman who dreamed of marrying her childhood sweetheart. He married someone else. She ended up meeting someone at a funeral and lived the most extraordinary love of her life. The pattern was always the same. The front door closed. The person fell into despair. They accepted any back door that appeared. And through that back door came multiplied everything they had asked for through the front door. Florence discovered that this isn't coincidence. It's a law. The law of the back door of the universe. But Florence went further. She discovered how to consciously activate the back door. How to stop unintentionally blocking true prosperity. How to make the universe rush to deliver everything to you through the door you're not even watching. It's a technique she taught only to her most advanced students. She called it the decree of the open door. The decree works like this. Instead of decreeing how you want to receive it, you decree that all doors are open. Instead of visualizing the specific path, you visualize multiple paths converging toward you. Instead of thanking for the front door, you thank especially for the door you don't yet see. Florence taught her students to say every morning, "I give thanks for the obvious door and the hidden door. I receive through the main entrance and the service entrance. I accept the straight path and the crooked path. Every door the universe opens, I will walk through with gratitude, especially the door I wasn't expecting." One of her students, Emily, used this decree for 30 days. Emily desperately wanted to sell her house. It had been on the market for 2 years. It was her front door to prosperity. On the 20th day of the decree, a storm knocked down a gigantic tree in her backyard. The tree destroyed half the fence. Emily cried. Another problem. More expenses. But the tree had fallen into the neighbor's yard too. The neighbor was a real estate investor she had never met. He came over to talk about the tree. He saw the for sale sign. He made an offer on the house that day, 50% above the asking price. He wanted the land for a project. The fallen tree was the back door of prosperity. Florence discovered something even deeper. The back door isn't just where prosperity enters. It's how it multiplies. When something comes through the front door, it comes in the exact amount you asked for. When it comes through the back door, it comes multiplied. Because the universe needs to compensate for the detour. It needs to reward your faith. It needs to reward your surrender. That's why the greatest fortunes in the world came through at accidents. The greatest loves came through chance encounters. The greatest healings came through crises. The back door is the universe's preferred method because it allows it to surprise you. And the universe loves to surprise. It's its way of showing you that it's bigger than your imagination. But here's the secret that Florence never published in her books. She discovered the signal that the back door is about to open. It's a signal so specific that when you learn to recognize it, you'll never miss a delivery from the universe again. The signal is always the same. The front door starts to creak. When something you were expecting starts to go wrong. When the obvious path encounters obstacles. When the perfect plan begins to crumble. This is the universe creaking the front door. It's warning you. Stop looking here. The real delivery is arriving through the back door. It's time to activate the decree of the open door. The emergency decree that Florence taught was powerful. I recognize the creaking of the front door. I thank the universe for the warning. Now I turn around and embrace what comes through the back door. I receive the disguise of my blessing. I accept the problem that brings the solution. I celebrate the detour that is my shortcut. A woman named Dorothy used this decree when her engagement was called off a week before the wedding. the front door creaked and broke. Devastated, she went to spend a few days at her cousin's house in the countryside. Back door. In the small town, she met the local veterinarian. Back door. They married 6 months later. Back door. He inherited a fortune from a childless uncle. Back door multiplied. Florence mapped the characteristics of the back door. It always appears when you're too tired to resist. It always comes disguised as an inconvenience. It always requires you to do something you didn't plan. It always takes you out of your comfort zone. It always seems like a detour before revealing that it's a shortcut. It always makes you feel humble before making you feel blessed. But the most important thing Florence discovered, the back door has a schedule. It opens mostly between 3 and 5 a.m. That's when the veil between the worlds is thinnest. That's when the universe makes its most important deliveries. If you wake up inexplicably at this hour, pay attention to the first thought. It's usually the universe showing you where your back door is. Florence documented hundreds of people who had insights about their back doors at this hour. A man woke up at 4 a.m. with the urge to call a distant cousin. The cousin offered a partnership that made him rich. A woman woke up at 3:30 a.m. with the idea to visit a sick friend. At her friend's house, she met her future husband. The hour of the back door is sacred, but Florence discovered something that disturbed her deeply. Some people are terrified of the back door. They prefer to remain poor waiting at the front door than to receive abundance through the back door. This is what she called spiritual pride. The person wants to be able to say, I manifested it my way. I achieved it as I visualized. This pride is the biggest block to prosperity because the universe is wise. If you only accept receiving it your way, it gives you exactly what you deserve, the eternal wait at the front door. Meanwhile, all your abundance is piled up at the back door, rotting, because you're too proud to turn around and receive. Now, I'm going to reveal Florence's most powerful decree to immediately activate your back door. She only taught this in person. It was never written down. It's the decree of prosperous humility. You must say it 3 times a day looking backwards, literally turning your back on the direction you normally look. The decree is this: Beloved universe, I surrender. I abandon my front door. I accept any door you open, especially the one I cannot see. I receive through the service entrance. I accept the disguise of abundance. I embrace the prosperous problem. I trust the crooked path. I thank you for the divine detour. My back door is wide open. Enter as you wish. Surprise me. It is done. This decree changes everything in 72 hours. Not because the universe takes this long, but because you take this long to really let go of the front door, to really accept that you don't control how blessings arrive, to really surrender to the divine method of delivery. If you felt something strange listening to this, if you wanted to stop the video, if you felt uncomfortable, great. It's your ego protesting. It hates the back door. Because the back door demands humility. It demands trust. It demands that you accept that you don't know everything, that the universe knows better, that the crooked path can be faster. But let me tell you the last secret. Florence discovered that people who master the back door develop a superpower. They start to see the back doors of others. They can identify where the disguised prosperity is in anyone's life. They become natural abundance consultants because they see what others don't see. This is the true gift of the back door. It's not just receiving your prosperity. It's helping others find their hidden doors. It's showing them that the problem is the disguised solution, that the detour is the path, that the back door is, always has been, and always will be, the VIP entrance to the universe. Now, if this knowledge touched your soul, honor it. Use the super thanks. It's your way of saying to the universe, I understand about back doors. I'm ready to receive through unexpected paths. The super thanks is, ironically, a back door. It seems like you're giving, but you're actually opening your back door to receive multiplied blessings. Florence said, whoever understands the back door understands God. Because God has always worked this way. He sent the Savior in a manger. He chose the smallest to defeat the giant. He used fishermen to change the world. God is the supreme master of the back door. When you accept the back door, you accept the divine method. Pay attention in the next 3 days. Your front door will start to creak. It might be a no you receive, a plan that will fail, an expectation that will be frustrated. When that happens, smile. It's the universe warning you. Turn around immediately. Look for the back door. Accept the strange invitation. Say yes to the detour. Enter through the door you never considered. Comment now. What front door is creaking in your life? What expectation is being frustrated? This is your map to the back door. The more specific your comment, the faster you'll identify your secret entrance to abundance. Florence is watching you. She smiles every time someone discovers their back door. But there's something even deeper that Florence discovered in her last years. She realized that each person has 3 types of back doors. The first is the material back door. This is where money, goods, concrete opportunities arrive. It always comes disguised as extra work, an expensive problem, or a temporary loss. The second is the emotional back door. This is where true love, sacred friendships, divine connections arrive. It always comes after a disappointment, at an inconvenient time, or through someone unlikely. The right person never comes in the right way. They come in the way that transforms. The third is the most sacred, the spiritual back door. That's where your true mission arrives, your purpose, your connection with the divine. And this always comes through an existential crisis, an illness, a loss, a moment where you question everything. Florence discovered that God uses pain as the doorbell to the spiritual back door. She documented the most impressive case in 1938. A woman named Eleanor approached Florence in desperation. She had lost her husband. Her children blamed her. She was sick and broke. All the front doors had been torn down. Florence looked her in the eye and said, "Darling, you are in the most blessed moment of your life. The universe has demolished all the front doors, so you have no choice but to use the back door." Eleanor thought Florence was insane, but she followed her advice. First, she accepted a job as a cleaner in a hospital. Material back door. There, she met a nurse who became her best friend. Emotional back door. Through that friend, she discovered she had a gift for healing. Spiritual back door. Within 2 years, Eleanor had become one of the most sought-after healers in New York. Her children reconciled. She remarried. The triple back door had changed everything. Florence taught Eleanor the decree of the triple door, which I'm about to reveal now. This decree simultaneously activates your 3 back doors. But be careful. When you activate all 3 at the same time, your life changes so fast, you can barely keep up. The universe starts making deliveries at maximum speed. The decree is this: I now open my material back door. I accept prosperity in disguise. I receive money that comes in a strange way. I embrace the work I didn't plan for. I celebrate the profitable problem. I now open my emotional back door. I accept the love that comes at the wrong time. I receive the imperfect person who is perfect for me. I embrace the unexpected connection. I celebrate the unplanned encounter. I now open my spiritual back door. I accept the crisis that awakens me. I receive the pain that transforms me. I embrace the chaos that organizes me. I celebrate the loss that fills me. 3 doors open, 3 converging paths, triple blessing activated. It is done. But Florence discovered something she never revealed publicly. There is a 4th door, the master back door. This door only opens when the other 3 are working perfectly. It's the door through which enters what Florence called quantum prosperity. It's not just money. It's not just love. It's not just purpose. It's everything. Multiplied exponentially. The master back door has unique characteristics. It only opens once in a person's life. When it opens, everything changes in a matter of days. Florence saw this happen only 7 times in her entire career. And in all cases, the person had spent years mastering the 3 basic doors. One of these cases was a man named Robert. For 5 years, he practiced the backdoor decrees. He accepted every detour. He embraced every problem. He celebrated every strange door. Then, on a Tuesday morning, he woke up with a strange sensation, as if the air was electrified. It was the signal of the master door opening. In 3 days, Robert received a letter from a lawyer. A distant relative he didn't even know existed had died and left him an inheritance. The same day, the woman he had secretly loved for years called him out of the blue. The next day, he received an offer to run a company in the field of his dreams. The master door had delivered everything at once. Florence studied these 7 cases obsessively. She discovered that the master door has prerequisites. First, you must have consciously used the 3 basic doors for at least 1,000 days. Second, you must have helped at least 3 people find their back doors. Third, you must have given thanks for at least 1 back door every day for a year. But the most important prerequisite is what Florence called total surrender. It's when you completely stop trying to control how things arrive. When you genuinely don't care anymore if it comes from the front, from the back, from above, or from below. When every door is equally welcome, this is the state of consciousness that activates the master door. Florence created a test to know if you are ready for the master door. Answer honestly. If I told you that tomorrow you will receive $1 million, but it will come through a divorce, would you accept it? If I told you that you will find the love of your life, but it will be at the funeral of someone dear, would you accept it? If I told you that you will discover your purpose, but first you will have to lose your job, would you accept it? If you hesitated in any answer, you are still not ready for the master door. You still have attachment to the front door. You still want to control the delivery method, and that's okay. Most people never get ready, but those who do experience what Florence called the explosion of abundance. Now I'm going to share the last secret. Florence discovered that there is a specific sound that the back door makes when it's about to open. It's not a physical sound. It's an internal sound, a subtle hum in your consciousness, like a whisper from the universe saying, "Get ready. I'm coming from where you don't expect." When you start to hear this internal hum, you need to do 3 things immediately. First, stop everything you're doing. Second, say out loud, "I hear and accept." Third, do something completely out of your routine in the next 3 hours. It could be calling someone, visiting a place, accepting an invitation. This random action is the doorknob of the back door. Florence documented hundreds of people who ignored the hum. They were too busy. They thought it was their imagination. They didn't do anything different, and they lost monumental deliveries from the universe. The back door doesn't wait. When it knocks, you have a short window to respond. If you don't open it, it will knock on someone else's back door. But there is an exception. Florence discovered that children under 7 always hear the hum, and they always respond. That's why children manifest so easily. They have no attachment to the front door. Any door will do. Every path is an adventure. That's why the universe attends to them so quickly. Florence developed an exercise to recover this childlike awareness. It's called the backdoor game. For a week, you do everything differently. Leave home through another door. Go to work by another route. Have lunch in a different place. Talk to different people. It's a training for your brain to accept that there are multiple doors for everything. A woman named Sarah did this exercise in 1941. On the 3rd day, she left through the literal back door of her house. She found an injured cat. She took it to the vet. The vet was a widower. They married a year later. He was secretly one of the richest men in the city. That little game had unlocked a back door of epic proportions. Florence noticed a fascinating pattern. People born in odd-numbered years have an easier time with material back doors. People born in even-numbered years have an easier time with emotional back doors. And people born in years that add up to 9 have natural access to the spiritual back door. Knowing your type helps you focus on the right decree. But the most revolutionary thing Florence discovered was the concept of backdoor inheritance. Your ancestors also had back doors, and many remained open, waiting for someone in the lineage to step through. When you activate your back doors, you automatically inherit the unused doors of your ancestors. It's generational prosperity waiting to happen. To activate ancestral inheritance, Florence taught a specific decree. I honor the back doors of my ancestors. I accept the opportunities they couldn't receive. I receive the blessings that have been waiting. I now step through all the doors that have been opened for my lineage. Generational prosperity flows to me now, through all doors, from all generations. So it is. A man named Paul used this decree in 1943. He discovered that his great-grandfather had declined a partnership opportunity in a company. The company still existed. Paul sought out the descendants of the former partner. They still had the documents. Through a series of legal coincidences, Paul ended up inheriting a stake in the company. His great-grandfather's back door had waited 3 generations. Florence also discovered that physical places have back doors. Certain addresses are portals of prosperity. If you move to one of these places, you automatically activate accelerated abundance. He mapped dozens of these addresses in New York. They all had something in common. They were places where major transformations had happened. Old churches, old banks, old libraries. There's a way to identify these places. When you enter, you feel a subtle tingling in the back of your neck, as if the place recognizes you, as if it's been waiting. Florence called this spatial recognition. It's the place saying, "Finally, you've arrived. I have old deliveries for you." But be careful. Just as there are places that are prosperity backdoors, there are places that are draining backdoors. Places that suck your energy, your prosperity, your vitality. They're usually places where great tragedies happened, where much pain was shed. If you feel unexplained heaviness in a place, leave. It's a vampiric backdoor. Florence created a protection map. Before entering any new place, say, "I seal all vampiric doors. I open only doors of prosperity. I accept only doors that uplift me. I reject all doors that drain me. I am protected. I am sealed. Only abundance enters." So it is. Now I'm going to reveal something that Florence only told 3 people. There's a specific day of the year where all back doors open simultaneously. It's what she called the Day of Convergence. On this day, what you decree in the morning manifests before sunset. But you need to know how to identify your specific day. Each person has a different one. To discover your day of convergence, add the day and month of your birth. Reduce it to a single digit. This number indicates which month your day is in. Then use your intuition to feel which specific day in that month. When you get close, you'll know. You'll feel an electricity in the air, an inexplicable urgency, an absolute certainty on your day of convergence. Wake up before sunrise. Stand with your back to the east. Say the master decree 3 times. Then turn quickly and receive the first ray of sunlight. This ritual activates all your back doors for the entire year. Florence did this religiously. It was the secret to her infinite prosperity. But there's a warning that Florence always gave. When you master the back doors, your life accelerates tremendously. What would take years happens in months. What would take months happens in weeks. It's exciting, but also scary. You need to be prepared for the speed. Many people ask to slow down because they can't handle so much blessing so quickly. Florence had a student named Jennifer who activated all her back doors in 1940, in 6 months. She got married, became a widow, inherited a fortune, lost it in bad investments, met another man, remarried, had twins, moved to another country and came back. He begged Florence to deactivate some doors. She was exhausted from so much transformation. That's why Florence created the decree of divine rhythm. Beloved universe, I accept all my back doors, but I ask that deliveries come at the perfect rhythm. Not too fast, that it overwhelms me. Not too slow, that it makes me despair. The perfect rhythm. Divine timing. I can receive. I can process. I can give thanks. So it is. Remember, the prosperity that comes through the front door makes you rich. The prosperity that comes through the back door makes you rich and wise. Choose wisely which door you want to receive through. Or better yet, don't choose. Accept all doors, especially the one you can't see. That's where the multiplied miracle lives. That's where the universe keeps its best surprises.